This new system, the ETA, from what I'm reading, is going to replace. Good afternoon, today is Monday the 13th of January and it's a little after 4:25 in the afternoon. Today we're going to be talking about the ETA system, which has recently been introduced here in Thailand, what it is and how it will affect you as a tourist. Some of you will have watched my last video and this video is going to be carrying on from that. Just behind me is the junction where I turned right. Of course, if you haven't watched my last video, then I will link it at the top of the screen. Go and check it out and then you will know where I am. But we are in the Rawai district and we're going to be taking another look at the 430 Soi, as it's known as. Today we're turning left and we're going to walk along this Soi to see what it has to offer both the tourist and the long stay visitor. At the same time, we're also going to discuss the ETA system. Of course, I would love to hear your comments and feedback. Thank you very much everybody that's commented on my last video. So let's get into the video. First off, what is the ETA? Well, it is the estimated time of arrival. I'm only joking. The ETA is the electronic travel authorization system that has been introduced or being introduced and started at the end of last year and is coming into play this year. We're not quite sure of the dates when it's going to be fully up and running, because there is a lot of confusing and misleading information online about this system. In fact, on my last video I said that it was going to affect people with visas at the moment and not people that enter the country under the exemption scheme, which I'm going to talk about in a minute, and that is actually incorrect because the information that I read on it was incorrect. And after spending 2 days and doing my own research, nice little restaurant there. Now I have eaten at Ali's, not this particular one, because people are asking me for recommendations and where I like Ali's barbecue, but I haven't tried this one. I've tried the one in Shillong and the food is excellent. You can see the type of food they offer all in the cabinets there, and they cook it up on the barbecues and it is really, really good. So if you're looking for some barbecue, not that you do yourself, that's already cooked, then you might want to check out this restaurant here near Nay Harm. We'll go back to the ETA. We're going to jump backwards and forwards, so bear with me. First of all, I need to go back a few years, and people that used to or have been to Thailand a few years ago will remember the TM6 form, which is the arrivals and departure card that you used to have to fill out on the aeroplane or when you got to the airport here in Thailand, preferably during the flight on the airplane rather than at the airport, because it used to cause a commotion. And this was to gather basic information about your passport number, any visas that you may have, the issue number, your date of birth, a little bit of information about where you were staying and how long, and some other information like email, telephone number if you wanted to give it. I think it was about 1.5 years ago they stopped doing that form, so you didn't need to do that any longer on the airplane. However, they have kept it in place at land and sea borders. But this new system, the ETA, from what I'm reading, is going to replace the TM6. So instead of having to do it on the airplane or at the land borders, you will now have to do it online preferably before you get to Thailand. Now you can, if you forget, do it at the airport. However, there is a catch, because it's online and it's electronic. You're going to get a QR code and you will need that QR code along with your passport to enter into Thailand. So you're going to need to do this beforehand, because if you wait until you land and do it actually at the airport, there's a delay and you may be hanging around the airport while you're waiting for the email or SMS to come through. I'm not sure how they're going to do it. I think it's going to be via email and not SMS, so you're going to need an email address. Who does this apply to? Well, it applies to people that are coming to Thailand and into the country without a visa. So we now need to talk about exemption from a visa. I should clear this up because again a lot of people think there is an exemption visa and there is no such thing. It is an exemption from having to have a visa, and there are 93 countries that are allowed to enter Thailand without an actual visa. Of course you can have a visa, and I think if you apply for an actual visa from the Thai embassy, then you will not have to do the ETA because you're already giving them the information that that would capture. So if you're from one of those countries and you're entering in with a stamp that you get from the airport, and I'm not talking about the visa on arrival, the exemption from a visa is different from the visa on arrivals. So this is where a lot of people get confused, and there's a lot of confusing information because a lot of people call it an exemption visa, and it isn't. It isn't even a visa. So you get a stamp at the airport that allows you to come into the country without a visa, and this is normally valid for either 30 or 60 days. Some countries have got 60 days at the moment and some have got 30, and I believe there are some that only get 15, but I might be wrong on that because I haven't looked into the exemption from a visa for a while. But I'm trying to explain why the ETA is applicable to you. So if you're entering the country under the exemption from a visa, where you just have a stamp in your passport when you go to the immigration, then you will need to do this. So when will you need to do it? Well, according to what the information is online, and a quick disclaimer here, I am not a legal or governmental advisor. This is just my own personal thoughts and comments that I have gained from reading information that's already online, and any information I give you need to double check. Obviously this information can change at any time. Officially they're saying the middle of the year. I've seen dates online that say the end of April or June. They haven't said whether it's the beginning of June or the end of June. It's not clear. The information that's online is very patchy and sketchy, and there's a lot of conflicting information, and there is no information that I can find on the actual government Thai visa website. Now again, people are thinking that the thaiembassy.com is the official government site, and it's not. That is run by a company called Siam Legal, and they are a company, not the government. For the official government site, you need to be looking for .th. Those are the government sites, not the .com ones. It is confusing because they look like an official site, but they're not. They're companies that are basically giving legal advice and also doing visas. Personally, I think the reason why the information is so confusing on a lot of sites is they want you to be so confused that you think, you know what, I'll pay a company and let them handle it, and that's how they're going to make their money. Let's carry on up this soy because I've been standing there talking for a few minutes, and that's not what I intended to do. So you can see straight away there is a bar. So if you're coming over here, guys, and you're single, you're looking for companionship, there are plenty of these bars around. That's what it can. So you're not going to be far away from bars. As we make our way up, you will see a few of these bars. It's still fairly early. I am trying to get out later and later. Nice restaurant here. Of course I haven't eaten in these. These are not my local restaurants, so I can't comment if the foods are good or not, but I would appreciate your feedback. If you've stayed in the area and you've tried these restaurants, then please do leave me some feedback. I have had some from my last video, so I appreciate that. The place, Happy Jack, somebody's recommended it and said the burgers are very good, so thank you for that, and I will endeavour to try it out. There are a lot of soys running off this main soy as well that has accommodation down it, so you need to go and explore. This area is great for all types of accommodation, whether you're looking for a resort, a hotel, a bed and breakfast, or just simply a room. You can find it all in this area, and that's why I've said this is a great area to stay in. Rawai is a great place for long stay because there's a lot of communities here, so if you're looking for things to do, get out to meet people. And I'm not just talking about meeting people in bars, I'm talking about tennis, gyms, squash, all sorts of activities take place in the Rawai district. There's a lot of communities, and obviously if you're going to be over here staying long term, you might think about joining one of the many community Facebook pages, and that'll give you an insight into what's happening in that area, district and community. So if you're looking, I don't know, to play in a darts team or a pool league, snooker, whatever it may be, you're going to be able to find that information in them community pages. But Rawai has a lot going on, and that's why I say it's good for both tourists and expats. We've got a cat cafe here. I'm guessing it's going to be full of cats, so if you're a cat lover and you don't mind cats around while you're having a coffee, then this is going to be a great place to come and explore. Grab some food. I can see they do food as well as coffee and other refreshments, I'm sure, and I can see the cats there in the window. Let's go and have a closer look. I don't know whether it's something, but you can see one on the table there. I know there's a few cafes where you can take your own pet if you've got one. Obviously, if you're a long-term stayer, you may decide you want to have a pet, a cat, a dog, whatever it may be. And there are places where you can go and take those pets, because as you know, we have Shadow. Sometimes she comes out with us and we go to different places where we can take her. A few restaurants allow dogs as well, not everywhere, because obviously you've got to take in consideration other people. Some people don't like animals around food, and I totally understand that, and they can be a nuisance at times as well. So going back to the ETA, the Electronic Travel Authorization System, a lot of people worrying about it, and I would say don't be, because from my understanding it is just replacing the TM6 form. Basically it's a way of the government keeping tabs on you when you enter the country, because if you enter here without an official visa, and what I mean by a visa is a tourist visa, a family visa, student visa, whatever it may be, they have no real information apart from the details on your passport. So they want a little bit more. They want to know how long you're staying here, where you're going to be staying, and basic information like that. So it's not going to be a form where they need your whole life story. Little fruit and vegetable shop there. So again, like I say, this is ideal for expats if you're going to have some cooking facilities. If you're over here long term, then obviously you may rent a property or even buy a property that has a kitchen, and you might want to do some cooking of your own. So you might want to come and buy some potatoes or fruit, onions, whatever it may be. And there are shops around this area, and there's markets as well, which I'm going to be showing. Local markets, not tourist markets. After all, just like me, I love Thai food, but when you're eating it every day, sometimes you just fancy pie and chips, or fish and chips, or shepherd's pie, or some things that you have in your own country and that you may not be able to find easily. I mean, now Thailand is multinational, really. It has every type of food on offer, so you don't really have to look that far to find British food, American food, Japanese food, Korean food, and the list goes on. Oh, not nice, not nice. There you go. A little bit of road rage there. Now, where was I? TM6. So for those of you who remember that form, and I do, because you used to have to fill that in on the plane, and then you'd get to the airport and you would go to the immigration desk, give the officer your passport, the TM6 form, and any other relevant documents such as accommodation bookings or flights out of the country. Especially if you were a regular visitor to Thailand, you would stand there and the immigration officer would scrutinise your passport for quite some time, or it felt like a long time. And you would be standing there thinking, come on, just let me in, because you feel so guilty, even though you've not done nothing. You've got the immigration officer going backwards and forwards through your passport, and not a great feeling at the start of your stay here in Thailand. So hopefully this system is going to alleviate that, because currently Thailand is fitting a lot of these new electronic entry gates. So you will go to the gate, I presume, with your passport and the QR code that you receive from the ETA. Scan both your passport and the code. The gate will open and let you into Thailand. Now, how are they going to do the stamp in your passport? Because normally you get stamped in and it has the date when you need to leave by. How they're going to do that, I don't know, because again, there is no information on that I can find. I'm guessing either it'll be printed in your passport at the gate, or you will go to a separate desk where they will stamp in that date that's relevant to you. So as I say, information on it is still very patchy and a lot of it is misleading. I didn't even know what it was called until I started to look into it, and I was trying to sort of put in different things to find information and it wasn't coming up, and I went onto the government's official website and there's nothing on there that I could see that referred to it, and this is pretty typical of Thailand. Unfortunately, the official website does not put information on until it's implemented, which is a little bit of a shame, because rather than letting people know ahead of time what's going on, they sort of let people know what's going on once it's going on, and then people panic. Now we've got this little market area that's quite a recent addition here. It's been open, I think, a couple of years maybe. It has grown a little bit since it's opened. It's a lot bigger. Rawai district is well known for seafood, and we will be taking a look at the seafood market. Anybody that knows about Rawai, including my wife, she loves to come here, get fresh fish cooked there and then at the restaurant, especially when Mama's staying. We'll come down to Rawai. You may see that in a future episode, and we'll go through the process of showing you how you can buy it fresh from the market, take it to one of the many restaurants nearby, and they will cook it for a minimal amount. It used to be about 100 to 150 baht, but we haven't been for some time, so that amount could have increased. But you just pay a minimal amount. You tell them how you want it cooked, what sauces, etc. But that'll be coming at some point in the future. So I'm just taking my time walking up here. You can see there's a few shops, accessory clothing shops, boutique shops. There's plenty of exchange places, as you've seen, and there are plenty of places to eat and drink. There's convenience stores in the area by the dozen, so all sorts, cash machines if you want to use them. Bear in mind, if you are a tourist and you're drawing out at the ATM, there is a charge of about 222 Swadee Krap. Hello. So I think it's 220, maybe 250. It's been a while since I've drawn out any money from the ATM as a tourist, so prices change, but I think it's still around that sort of figure. Another soy here that you can go off down. There's a bar just down there and more accommodation. Again, there's lots of soys around here. There's one opposite there as well. I'm going to have to watch what I'm doing here because I'm liable to get run over while I'm not looking what I'm doing. Plenty of bike hire places, but again, if you're thinking about hiring a bike, do check out the wife's page. She may be able to sort you out on a bike. And yes, she can deliver to this area because it's not too far here where we are here to where our business is situated in Shillong. Nice Mexican, I've eaten there, the food's good. Well, it was when I ate there, but it has been a little while now. This little place here is a little gold mine, or it used to be. Obviously things are changing all the time, but it's got a really funny name. So you can see what it is. Cheap ass Thai food, the best cheap Thai food in the area, and it is very cheap, and the food was good. I came down with Nat. I think I videoed it. Swadee Krap, how you doing? Yeah, where are you from?
Italy.
Italy, oh nice.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, likewise. You stay tourist?
Yeah.
Yeah, how long you stay?
23 days.
23 days, okay, so a decent amount of time.
Much.
Not long enough, huh?
No.
Okay, you love it here. First time or?
No, it's fourth time.
Fourth time, okay, so you really like
Where
it.
are you
Originally I'm from the UK, but I live here now.
UK, I love UK.
How are you finding this area? You like it? Would you recommend this area?
For me, it's perfect.
Okay, excellent. Okay, nice to
Enjoy.
meet you
Bye-bye.
anyway.
Bye-bye.
And your name?
Martino.
Martino. Okay,
Yeah.
Tony.
Tony.
Tony. Okay, nice to have met you. Okay, bye. So yeah, this is a good place to check out here, definitely. If you want good local food that's not too expensive, not too touristy, then the cheap-ass Thai food restaurant, which made me laugh the first time I went in there, is a good restaurant to go and have some food. Now, I noticed a few people saying in the comment section that they want me to tell them which restaurants to eat at and stuff. This is going back to what I'm trying to get away from is recommendations, because the problem that you have is, yes, I've eaten at the cheap-ass Thai restaurant, and for me personally, I enjoyed it, but somebody else might go in there on my recommendation and they might not like the food, and then they turn around and say, oh well, the food was crap, the service was crap, and you recommended it. This is why I don't recommend restaurants. I can tell you where I've eaten and enjoyed, and you're free to go and try it, but I'm going to get away from the recommendations. As I've said, I want to cover not just the touristy stuff, but the stuff that's going to involve the expats. So we're going to be taking a look at communities and things that are going on in the community, things that affect the community. I'm working on a video regarding the traffic and congestion here on the island, because it affects both the locals and the tourists. So, you know, you're trying to get from the airport to your accommodation and there's lots of traffic. That's a problem for you, and when you go back to the airport it causes you problems because you've got to allow extra time. And for locals it's a problem because of them going to and from work. It affects Nat. It normally takes Nat about 50 minutes in the morning to go to work from Talang to Shillong, so it's a reasonable length of time to get to work. And the same at night, sometimes it takes her up to an hour and a half when the traffic's really bad. And bear in mind, she's riding a scooter, not in a car, so imagine the same journey in a car. Can be very frustrating. One of the reasons why I don't use our car a lot, and I prefer motorbikes. Now, I'm not trying to put you off hiring cars, because if you're here as a tourist, you will be on the road at different times, or you should be. You should stay away from the peak times, because like any city in the world, any place in the world, in the morning time when people are going to work and in the evening time when people are coming home, it's going to be busy. It's common sense. So you try to avoid that. In the daytime, generally, and I say that loosely, it's not too bad, but sometimes it can be excruciatingly busy and it can take you a lot longer than you had originally planned. Okay, let me just show you these couple of restaurants, because Wine Connection, again, I've eaten at the Wine Connection restaurants, not this particular one, the one that's at Central. I've eaten there and I've always had good food. Nat likes the pizzas there because they do the very thin crust, and she likes those. I prefer the deeper pan pizzas myself, but originally that used to be an Italian restaurant. I'm going back some time and I took Nat there and we had a really nice meal, but it has changed several times since then. Let's just quickly film the board that's outside, so it'll give you a rough idea of prices. I want to be able to cover prices so people get a feel for the different areas and how much they're going to need and how much they're going to spend. Again, I don't want to do the cost of living type videos because everybody's different. You know, I don't drink a lot of alcohol. I'm not a big drinker now. I used to be when I was younger. I did my drinking. It doesn't interest me now, so I don't spend a lot of money on beer. But if you like a beer, and there's nothing wrong with liking a beer or spirits or whatever your tipple is, you may spend a lot on it. So that's going to add a cost onto your holiday, your stay here. There's a place over there, look. They're offering free pool, because some of the bars, they have pool tables, but actually you have to pay. And the bars I'm talking about have girls in them, some of them working, of course. Let's go over and have a shufti at it. Special cocktails, it's not busy in here. Khao soi, which is one of my favourites. It doesn't say whether it's chicken, pork or beef, because they do different ones. Swadee ka. That looks like a nice place, and they're offering free pool and darts. So some places actually charge for the pool, so be careful of that. So when you're going in a bar, it's not a lot. I mean, sometimes it's like 20 baht or 10 baht or 30 baht. It's not massive amounts of money, but you do have to pay. Some places will tell you beforehand, other places will just put it on your bill, which can be a bit of a shock at the end of the night because it makes the bill dearer, and you're like, well, how come the bill's this and I've only had this amount of beers? And then they say, oh, well, you have to pay for the pool. and then of course you're a little bit upset because they didn't say. And these are the things we're going to cover, so you know ahead of time. But as you can see, massive choice here. Another coffee shop here, and this one does sound healing, meditation and yoga. I don't know, I know what yoga is and meditation, but the sound healing, I'm not sure about that. Another bar over there, I think that's changed names quite recently. I have been in that bar, but it's been a long time ago. When I used to come out with a few mates, when they were over here on holiday, I would bring them into different areas just because you get bored of one area. Got another restaurant now. That was an Indian restaurant. I think it still is, but I'm not quite sure because it's changed names and it doesn't actually say what it is. So I'm not sure whether that's Indian or not. But then there's another place across the road. So no end of restaurants and places to explore for food and drink. Now obviously if you're coming over here for a longer stay, and what I'm talking about longer stay is 6 months and upwards, then you may consider this area. But what I would recommend is if you are intending to live out here for any length of time, then it is a good idea to either come out here a few times before you move and find out which areas you like, or if you can't do that and you're just biting the bullet and coming out here without any previous visits, little research, then don't book any accommodation for longer than a month. Just stay in one area for a month and then try a different area, and this will give you the feel and a better idea of what the area is to live in, because it's very different living in an area to being on holiday in an area. These are two different things, and a Rawai district is a good area to live in. As I've mentioned earlier in the video, it's got a lot of things going on. There's a lot of facilities here, a lot of places accessible to this area quite easily, but it's not the only area on the island that I feel is good. The Thailand area offers some very good facilities and again good communities, and maybe a place of interest for people that are staying there long term. So there are quite a few of these places, and as we go forward I will be covering these areas because, as I've said, I want to involve people that want to stay here long term. They need tips and tricks to stay ahead of the game, so to speak. New place that's opened, the Groovy. Looks quite a nice place. I don't think it's open yet, or just there. I've not seen that before. I saw it the other day when I started coming and doing the series, and that is being advertised as the Gastro Bar. Another place you might want to come and check out. I think it's just opened. I did go down here earlier to try and film it, but it wasn't open when I first arrived. So some of these places open later in the afternoon, some are open in the morning, and this is why I'm trying to come out at different times, so it gives you a different perspective of the area. You can see what it's like early in the morning, lunchtime and later in the evening. Small restaurant. This is more of a morning and lunchtime place. Again, I have eaten at this restaurant with Nat. It's been a while back. Again, basic Thai food. I wouldn't say it's outstanding. It's okay for the price. You know, it's nice enough. It does get busy with locals, and that's always a good sign. If you see a restaurant with a lot of locals, it normally means the restaurant's not too bad. Now I'm going to be walking just to here on this video, to this junction, and this is the junction that you can go left at, and that will, you follow that road all the way along, and that will bring you out at Kata and Kata Noi. You can turn right and down that road, which I've covered in the past, and that will take you heading towards Shillong and the Macro supermarket and that sort of area. Again, I shall be carrying on along that road, and I shall also go a little way left at the junction and up there. That will be a shorter video because it's not that far before you're into the rural area and there isn't a lot there. Again, another big restaurant there. So shops, restaurants here. You can see there's no end of facilities in this area, and that's why I think it's such a good area. There's a lot of accommodation, a lot of different prices. You're going to need to search it out. I can't list all the accommodation. I'm not even going to try because there's too many. Normally there's accommodation in this area to suit all budgets. So if you're looking for 5-star or just a room, you're going to find it here. Watch out for the next vid.